At the recording. We're recording again. There's a few minutes I recorded myself just staring at a screen, so I don't know how to remove that. So we'll just have to deal with it. All right. Well, first and foremost, good evening and welcome everyone. If you see me, awesome. I'm Mr. Reyna. I'm the principal here at Cecil Avenue Math and Science Academy. Now, if I'm looking down here, it's not that I'm not looking at you. I'm actually looking at the faces on the screen for those who have their video on. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being here. This is a very exciting time for us. It's a very important time for us as well. This is a very important meeting that we're having. And here, if you're attending, you're here because you're interested in knowing what the opening of school is going to look like, what's going to sound like, what do we have planned, what do we have in place, and so forth. Now, if you have questions as I progress, or if I
You're muted, Lionel.
like it's automatically muting me.
No, I accidentally muted you because I was trying to let someone in the list.
Oh, okay. I'm like, man,
Sorry
I'm
about
worried.
that. I was trying to unmute
That
you.
means the system doesn't like me either. I'm like, Joe.
No, it was your vice principal did that too.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Mr. Hunter and I, we kid a lot with each other. So anyhow, it's a very important time, but if you have any important questions as I continue on through the presentation, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. I'm going to have the chat monitored, and those monitoring the chat will do their best to answer the questions in the chat if they're the basic answers. If it's more of an answer that's more elaborate, then we'll probably hold it till the end so that we can get really into the answer and I can't think of the word right now, but really explain it in detail. I'll say right now that I may not have all the answers to the questions you have, but I'm the kind of person that if I don't have the answer, then I'm definitely going to go out and try to get, I'm going to find it and I will get back to you in regards to that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to share my screen. And this is the presentation that I have. Oh no, I don't want to share that. Let's share this one right here. Okay, let me expand this. Okay, thumbs up, Mr. Hunter. You guys see you see it? Okay, I'm going to go into presentation mode now, and it's going to give you a full screen of what this is. So reopening information for parents. Okay, now, Mr. Hunter, let me know, Mr. Franklin, let me know if for some reason it freezes, because yesterday I had that problem during one of our, actually last week with one of the Zooms, I was Zooming, and it was frozen on a certain page. So, okay, first things first, staff introductions. I'm Mr. Lionel Reyna. I'm the principal here at Cecil Avenue Math and Science Academy. We also have Mr. Joseph Hunter. He's my vice principal. I have Mr. Curtis Franklin, our new learning coordinator. And I have Mrs. Glendy Ardone. She is our new academic counselor. Okay, we have a great team here. I am so comfortable and fully trustful of this team that I have here. We have a team that's going to ensure that your children are not only safe and excited to be back in school, but they're going to continue to learn and have an opportunity to learn and to progress towards our goals, whether they're 8th grade graduation, 7th grade working towards 8th and 6th, becoming more acclimated with our campus and getting excited about the next 3 years they'll have here. Okay, I'm not muted. Okay, so school safety measures. And I know that's an important item, an important topic, because everyone wants to know what's going to be happening at the school. So I'll just tell you right now that in health and safety guidelines, we're going to be adhering to all guidelines that are issued by the following agencies there: the Center for Disease Control, California Department of Public Health, and our Cal-OSHA, and everything. All these agencies ensure that we're doing what we have to do on our part to ensure the safety of the staff and obviously main important the students. Right now, guidance is telling us that we have to maintain a minimum of 6 feet distance, and this is only with adults, teachers, staff members, to students, and most importantly to each other. So the adults have to they have to keep the social distancing to 6 feet when it comes to each other, and with staff to students. Okay, so those are guidelines that they've maintained. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but they lifted the guidance when it came to students being a minimum of 3 feet apart. That guidance has been lifted now. Okay, so the Center for Disease Control has now lifted that. So we don't necessarily have to follow it, even though we're still going to continue to recommend it, and we'll get into that in a slide down the road. School safety measures. So number one, masks are still required and will be, staff and students will be required to wear masks indoors at all times. Okay, that mask mandate's not gonna go away. Okay, masks, however, outside, they will have the flexibility to remove their mask if they wish when they're outdoors. But when it comes to being indoors, mask is mandated. It's required. That's why when students arrive to school, we're still going to do what we can to ensure that they come onto campus with
Sorry, Lionel, that was me that time. It pops right down as soon as you if somebody clicks admit and I click admit at the same time, it's like bumps your name up.
Okay, Curtis, come on, man. So anyhow, masks are a requirement. Okay, so if they come onto campus, they don't have a mask available, one will be provided for them. Now you can bring any mask, cloth, 3-ply, however whatever mask you want. It's just they have to have a mask as they enter campus, and then when they're outdoors, they don't need to wear it. But indoors, they'll be required to wear it. Well, they'll be in whether it's gym, cafeteria, classroom, even the hallway. That's considered indoors. In the office, everything they have to have it on. Hand sanitizer will be located throughout campus for student use. It'll be available for them, and students, they may bring their own bottles of sanitizer for their own personal use if they wish to. We're not going to restrict them in that matter. Okay. We currently have shields and barriers in place in every classroom on the desks. When I initially set the rooms up, their distance, right now the desks are sitting at least 3 feet apart. Okay, so we're going to continue with that in the classroom. It's just important that you know that 3-foot minimum, it's not an actual requirement or a recommendation when it comes to the Center for Disease Control. It's now we have the classroom set, we got the barriers, and they're still going to be at 3 feet, so we're still good with that. And distancing, we will encourage social distancing. We're going to continue to do that. Students are already placed 3 feet apart when it's possible. In the classrooms, it'll be possible, but there may be times where we need to move desks around, and there's a chance they may be within the 3 feet where they're next to each other and so forth. But just remember, when they're indoors, they're going to have their mask on, and back to the mandate of they don't need to be 3 feet anymore. We have informational signs posted throughout campus, how to properly wear a mask, how to properly wash your hands, if you're not feeling well, and so forth. So we have informational literature up there. So the students will be exposed to this. Wherever they walk, they're going to see these signs. They have questions, they'll know what to do just by looking at the signs. Okay. Well, right now, another thing we've done to actually minimize the amount of the number of students to the cross paths or together out there, we have a staggered scheduling system in place that allows for a minimum number of students being out on the yard, being in the hallway, crossing paths from each other. Okay, and you'll when your child receives their schedule, they're going to also receive a schedule of the time, their bell schedule, and then you'll get a good idea of what that looks like. Visitors, out of an abundance of caution, visitors will not be allowed on campus. You can come to the office, but in the past, and I know this is more towards elementary as well, parents would always want to come. They'd always want to go with their child to the classroom. That is no longer going to be allowed. And that's just out of abundance of caution to not only us, but to your children as well. You'll still be in our office, and you'll still be required to follow safety guidelines with masking and social distancing while on campus. Breakfast and lunch will be served in the classroom. Breakfast for certain will be served in every class in the classroom. Lunch, however, there'll be a selected number of classrooms that will be allowed to utilize the cafeteria to eat. But when they enter the cafeteria, we will then strictly enforce the 3 feet distance when they sit down to eat, because they have to remove their masks to have the opportunity to eat. And so they'll at least be 3 feet apart, and we'll be able to control that as they enter there. We'll have help tents in place to accommodate students that aren't feeling well. So if we have students that aren't feeling well, they'll be, teachers will be given a guide, like a sheet to go off of, like, okay, what kind of signs are they exhibiting? If it's something that's similar to, some of the symptoms of, let's say, COVID, then they'll be, sent to this, what we call a oh, it's a tent, and I cannot remember off the top of my head, Mr. Hunter. Do you remember what we call it?
No, I don't.
I
off
can't
the
remember,
top
but
of my
it's a
head.
tent we'll have in a specific area. They'll monitor them there. We'll contact home, and then other actions will be taken just to ensure that everyone's safe. Students will be allowed to use the restroom upon request. We're not going to minimize that. Sanitation will occur between breaks, lunches, and classrooms. That's another important thing about the schedule and how it was created. It was created where we incorporated a break between class changes to allow for desks to be disinfected. And we also incorporated a lunch period to allow for not only the kids to eat, but once they leave, desks are sanitized and disinfected. Okay, now you're going to understand how that's possible, because in the past we've had 6 periods, but with our new rolling block schedule, this gives us a chance to actually sanitize where we don't have to add additional breaks in there. And so let me go to the next one. So these are some of the things we did. As you can see there's one of our desks with the barriers. And as you can see right here, we have 3 feet distancing, and it's from the back of the chair to the back of the chair.
Place call on your Bluetooth phone.
So we have social distancing from the teacher desk to this desk. That's more than 6 feet. So anytime and then they're going to have barriers up as well. Here's an example of some of the signage we have. How to wear a mask if you don't feel good, other symptoms and so forth. So that's some of the things we have up around campus. Now, what happens if my child is exposed to COVID? If your child is exposed to COVID due to a positive test reported, you'll be notified by the school immediately. Okay, if we get a positive test, you'll be notified. If your child is showing signs of COVID-like symptoms at home, keep them home. They have a headache, they have a runny nose, they have a cough, they're not feeling well. Call the office, let us know, keep them home, and then we'll contact you with further action, just to, based on the nurse will contact you. And then we'll go from there. Okay, next one, arrival and departure procedures. Okay, please keep your child home if they're exhibiting any signs of sickness and contact the school office. I just said that. All students will be required to wear a mask indoors while on campus. It's something I already covered, and they have to show us that they have a mask as they enter campus. Here's another example of some of the signage we have. Bias mask required. Prior to entry, we need to know whether they have a mask or not. Now, when they go out to the yard, they can remove that mask and they can keep it on. There's nothing wrong with keeping it on as well. But we have to know whether or not whether they have a mask. And if, like I said, if they don't, we'll provide one for them. Students will be allowed to enter campus using the entrances located in the front of the school by the parking lot or next to the gymnasium. Okay, that's just south of the main office. If there's 2 parking lots that are right next to each other, they can use 1 of 2 entrances. We're going to keep it the same as it's always been, and it's been like that for years. Students may utilize the gates located near front of the school where they enter, next to the gym where they enter, and an additional exit that we're going to include is near the 8th grade hall, and that's to the east of campus. Okay, and that's another exit that we've utilized in the past as well. It'll allow everyone just to exit safely and out of the campus. And the reason we don't include the east gate for entry is there's no supervision out there in the back, but at the end of the day, we do have the bodies to provide that supervision. Mr. Hunter, Mr. Franklin, am I missing anything at this point?
No, we had a quick question, just to backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Are we testing students for COVID? I don't believe so, correct?
No,
Right.
no, we don't test. We're not going to be testing students for
Yeah.
COVID.
Staff, yes, but not
Yeah.
students.
Yeah, staff, but anything with students, that's going to be entire up to the parents to provide that testing on that. Okay, here we go. Students will be expected to immediately exit campus at the end of school. We don't want any loitering, any kids hanging around. We're going to really encourage them to leave unless they're part of power or we have some kind of club meeting or activity or maybe intervention when we get to that point. Okay, but they'll be expected to leave campus immediately, and we're going to encourage them to leave as soon as school's over. Okay, so here's the schedule what I was talking about. So bell schedule, school starts at 8 a.m. every day for all students. So the warning bell is going to ring at 7:55. And so by 8 o'clock, students will be expected to be in their classroom ready to hit the ground running when it comes to instruction. Late start Wednesdays, school will start at 10 a.m. And then this is new this year because we've had to make some adjustments, but students this year will be dismissed at 2:13. I know last year it was 2:32, but this year it's going to be 2:13. So school will be dismissed this year at 2:13 for all middle schools. Okay, now I was talking about rolling block schedule. Okay, so what this means is every day your child's only going to be seeing 3 teachers unless they have a block schedule and they actually have consecutive classes with the same teacher. But for example, when they start on Monday will only be period 1, period 2, period 3. Tuesday will then be 4, 5, and 6. Wednesday, 1, 2, 3. Thursday, 4, 5, 6. Friday, 1, 2, 3. Now, when you see rolling block schedule, that means that we're going to go with the next period, whether it's Monday, a full week, or whether it's Tuesday, because there's a Monday holiday. Okay, so when week 2, for example, is going to look like this now. So next Monday, it'll be 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So they'll always go in consecutive order, no matter what. Okay, because I know there'll be many Monday holidays, and then those periods, if we kept it the same, where they met in the same day, they start missing out. So if we just had periods 1, 2, 3 on Monday all year, then 1, 2, 3 would be missing out on a lot of instruction. Okay, that's why we wanted to have a rolling block schedule, and it's gonna stay consecutive, but each week it's gonna be changing. Okay, just based on this. Okay, so that'll be our new rolling block schedule, and your child will provide that information for them when they get here on Monday. And so, all right, when it comes to instruction, okay, last year we were on the 3-semester model. This year we're going to the 2-semester system model, replacing the old 3-semester model, which means we're going to have 2 quarters per semester. So the first semester is going to run from the first day of school to about mid-January. In the middle, we're going to have two quarters. Okay, now the reason for that is to allow more time for us to provide more of that targeted intervention and support that the kids need. Because a lot of times, by the time they really get it going in the old system, it's too late because we're already into the first trimester. And then the next trimester, it starts again. Okay, so this year we're going through a 2-semester system. And like I said, it'll allow more time to help your children. And you'll be receiving at least 3 progress reports. You'll receive a progress report at the end of August. The end of the first quarter, I believe, is in October. And then you'll receive another one sometime in November, a progress report. So this, gives you a chance, it gives the kids a chance to know how they're doing, and gives them more time to make adjustments and to do better and to perform well. Right now, we're currently using data to determine placement and the support that your child needs. And we use that, we did that using a couple of our programs, IXL, which is and STAR, and those are programs that are used to help us determine what your child has learned, where they're currently at, and what type of intervention and instruction they'll need to help them catch them up. We have student support in place. When it comes to academics, we have intervention. We're going to be having intervention throughout the year to provide that extra support they need at the end of school, so that, not only to add more support on top of what they receive during the regular school hours, a regular school day. Then we have our social emotional support, because we do understand that being on remote learning for the past, seems like forever, but the past year and a half, it's actually kind of it's done some harm with them when it comes to, not being able to hang out with friends as much, the stress of being at home and not being able to go to school. One day we're in school, the next day we're out. Now there's all that pressure, and it's difficult for a lot of people to change, for people to change, for some people to change. Some people did really well on remote learning, but then majority didn't do as well. They struggled. So we're going to actually there's a component of our day where we're going to be, providing that social emotional learning support that they need to help to regain them, mentally and, you know, hopefully at the end, just get them back to where they need to get to. After school programs and athletics, after school power will still be available. If you're interested in enrolling your child in power, please contact the school. You can come in, get an enrollment sheet, and, you know, let's get them in here. And power will continue to run from you know, 2:30, 2:15 to 6 o'clock daily.
Hey, Mr. Reyna, there was a question on power. It'd be a good time to address it. Mr. Dyer has said they do not need to re-enroll in power as long as we have their current contact info.
Okay, so you don't have to re-enroll, but just notify the main office and let us know that you're interested in enrolling your child in power again, especially if you're coming from Princeton, Terrace, or Del Vista, and then we'll be more than happy to enroll them.
Right.
There'll be no fall sports this year.
Hey,
And honestly, I don't
Brandon?
know about winter sports, whether it's basketball, wrestling, or soccer. I don't know with that. All I know is as of right now, there'll be no fall sports. Okay, remote learning, you have an option of enrolling your child in remote learning, which means they won't be attending school at Cecil, but they'll be rostered to the district, or they'll provide that remote learning with a remote teacher, kind of online. So continue online learning. It's not the best type of learning, but we're going to continue to learning. Nothing replaces in person. Okay, so if you're interested in that, just contact the office and they'll provide more direction for you on that. Okay, so helping your child transition back to school. So number one, practice proper hygiene. Remind your child to thoroughly wash their hands for enough time to kill all the germs. And I believe that's 20 seconds. What was it? Was it the happy birthday song, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Franklin? Was it? I can't remember.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so
also let me know when you want what the guidelines are. We had questions regarding if a student's symptomatic, what the guidelines are for them to return. I have that information as well. And when you're ready for it.
okay, well, we can do it right after this, before I get to the next
Right.
next topic. So
Okay.
practice wearing masks. Masks will still be required to return to campus. We've been over that, and just there's signage out there regarding that. But if you have a chance, go over with your child. And it's important that when they wear it over their nose and mouth. Because I know a lot of times kids get lazy and they let it slide down. That's not doing them any good. Time to get it up there, and it needs to cover. So make sure we practice with your child when it comes to wearing a mask. Review the rules on social distancing. As much as friends may wish to greet each other warmly on campus next week, everyone must continue to keep a respected distance between themselves and others. Remind your child about these rules for everyone's safety. Okay, especially, you know, their own, because a lot of times what are kids going to want to do when they haven't seen each other? I'm going to go and give them a hug. We're not gonna allow hugging, and first of all, it's not allowed in school, but we don't want to encourage any type of action that's going to, you know, infringe on the personal space of another student. Check in with your child to measure their emotional health. Returning to the classroom after a year can be as emotionally difficult as starting school all over again for the first time. We're going to have counseling and other staff available to help, but you can make things easier by talking with your child about their feelings. You know, when they get home, ask how their day went, and sit there and listen. And I know sometimes it's difficult because I've had difficult with my child. Sometimes they come in and, oh, Dad, let me tell you about my day, and I'll be like thinking in the back of my head, I'm tired. I don't want to listen, but I'm like, okay, how'd your day go? And, you know, sit there and listen, because, you know, sometimes people feel better just being able just to explain how their day went. And that's an important part of being able to gauge whether or not, you know, they're adjusting to school, back to in-person learning.
Hey, one thing I would like to butt in on the COVID testing issue with students. It looks like that, even though I have put in the chat, it was not my understanding that it would be available. It is definitely a possibility. I just got a message from our health services director. So it looks like they may offer it. We just don't know the details on that. But so that original response was incorrect. So it looks like there will be some sort of testing if parents request it. But again, I don't have all the details.
Yeah, it's a lot of this stuff is still a work in progress.
Right.
And so, and now, Mr. Hunter, if you wanted to cover the guidelines on that.
Yeah, now I gotta pull it back up on my phone. It's kind of long. That's why I couldn't answer it on the chat. So they need to meet all these 3 criteria. They have a negative COVID test, or a healthcare provider has said that their symptoms are due to something else. That's the first thing that has to happen.
And this
Second-
pertains to someone who's symptomatic?
Right, correct. So the doctor gives them a note, says it's not COVID, or they have a negative test. And 24 hours have had to pass since any fever, and symptoms should be getting better.
Mhm.
So those are the 3 things.
Okay, so moving on. This is an important component that's being incorporated this year, and it's going to be part of every grade level. Your child is going to receive, it's what we call social emotional learning, which is an integral part of education and human development. And it's a process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. This is an important component that we're taking seriously. We're actually, there is an allotted time slot for this in, every grade level, where a teacher will be delivering instruction and will be providing a lesson with social emotional learning. And it's the whole purpose is to really provide that support that your child needs, because like I said, being on remote learning for the past year and a half has done some damage. And we want to, repair, whatever might have potentially gone wrong during that year and a half, and just make them excited about being in school and try to get them back to some sense of normalcy, so because, it was a tough break going off. So what that'll look like, SEL daily check-in. We'll check in daily with students to ensure they are adjusting to in-person instruction. Designated time block daily to address social emotional learning. Your child will receive that schedule when they attend school on Monday. Second step curriculum, a science-based program designed to address the social emotional well-being of others. And so we're going to hit it hard with them. We're going to provide them with that support that they need, so that they know we're here for them. They try to understand, what they may be feeling, how to get better, and that, what, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay at the end of the road. Okay, but it's going to be a process, and patience, positiveness, and, we're all going to be there. And we'll do our part in our end to provide other activities for the students so that they're excited about being back into school, and, just gives them something positive to look forward to on a daily basis.
Hey, Mr. Rain, I got another one that's going to need some verbal explanation. We do have parents asking about remote learning. There is going to be an orientation for that on July 29th at 5 p.m. That's Thursday evening. And the links for that's not done by us. That's done for the district and can be found on the district website.
Yeah, go to the district website. You can find the information on that. You can also contact the district office if you're interested in, signing your child up for remote learning. But they'll have the orientation or the meeting on Thursday, and they'll answer all the questions you have. They'll go thoroughly into what that's going to look and sound like, and hopefully, put you at ease as to whether or not you want your child enrolled in that part of the program. Okay. All right, so we've had some technology upgrades here on the site, which I'm excited about. So obviously, we're going to continue to use technology at home. Your child should have a Chromebook at home. I know that if they're an incoming 6th grader, they probably return their Chromebook to the site you're coming from. We'll be issued another Chromebook, and then we're also they're gonna have Chromebook uses, and it's right here in the third one. So they'll have use of Chromebooks in the classroom. We have new Chromebooks that were ordered, and it's going to be available for each student for each classroom, which they're going to keep in the classroom, and they'll be using that daily. Okay. We'll also, with technology at home, we'll have the use of Google Classroom, Star Math or ELA or IXL, etc. Hotspots will still be available for home use. You have to contact the office if you are for some reason unable to connect, like if we have any assignments and they need to, to log in after at home, especially if they're going to continue to use Google Classroom. Students will use specific assigned Chromebooks in class. That's important, so that those Chromebooks will be disinfected after each use. Okay, I wanted to make that clear. Maintain the Chromebooks you have at home. Continue to take care of them. If you're having issues, bring them in and we'll do our best to replace them or to fix them. And the teachers will be using wireless lapel mics and have speakers in the classroom so that we don't need the teacher really roaming around as much as they have in the past. And plus, it's going to make it a little difficult to hear with the barriers that are on the desks. Okay, so they'll have lapel mics and we'll have some speakers set up to allow for more of the projecting of their voice so that everyone can hear them. Who are my child's teachers? So 6th, 7th, and 8th, first period advisory teacher and room assignments will be posted in front of the school this Friday afternoon. Okay, we'll have them up there late. We're going to have them by grade level spread out because I don't want any congregating of everyone. And then on Monday, we're going to have them in a place where, to prevent all the 20 kids meeting in one central location. It's okay, who's my teacher? Where they're kind of pushing each other, because that's the last thing we want to do. So we'll have something set up so that we can try to avoid that. But your first chance of seeing who your advisory teacher is or your child's advisory teacher will be this Friday in the afternoon. So possibly after school, after we close campus. So could be after 4. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And it'll be in the front of the school here. So together, we made it through. People, we are back. We are back in session. And I tell you what, I'm super excited, a little nervous too, because it's kind of like my first day of school as well, of coming back here. And I can't tell you enough how excited I am. I can't, just to see the kids again, just to be able to talk to them. This is my 23rd year in education, and I had never, ever had anything remotely close to this happening. And I'm super excited. I can't wait to see your children. I can't wait to connect with you all. And Mr. Hunter, you have anything to add?
Yeah, there's going to be band, but it's going to start out with just sectionals.
Yeah,
It's my understanding, not full band or not marching at this time. That doesn't mean it won't happen later on during the year. But that's a question. Textbooks from last year, Mr. Reyna, I don't know the answer to that. I don't think, well,
I can chime in on that.
okay.
Go ahead, Rashad.
I am gonna have a Blackboard notice go out. Students will need to bring their textbook, their history textbook only, to campus on the first day so we can check them out to the incoming students, since we don't have enough to pass out. So on the first day, we're going to ask returning students, the 7th or the old 6th graders and 7th graders, to return their history book. And then we will go ahead and check out the next one to them. So make sure your students prepared, bring the backpack, because they are going to be taking home a lot of books the first week of school.
Yeah, and for those of you wondering who that was, her name's Rochelle Rosales. She's our site resource teacher. If you've ever come to a distribution and you see someone moving at 100 miles an hour, that's her. Okay, she's a very important part of this team. She does so much, and honestly, I don't know what to do without her. Okay, so that's.
We've got lots of questions regarding whether there can be switches from virtual learning to in-person and in-person learning to virtual.
Yes to both. If you start off in remote learning and you want to, switch back to in-person, you can do that. You're going to be allowed to do that. It doesn't mean you're going to be stuck having to do one thing. I mean, obviously our goal is to try to get everyone on campus, because like I said, nothing really replaces in-person learning. It's the dialogue, the interaction, because, gives the students a chance to feel excited about, talking to another human instead of a computer. And it's that sense, it's just a sense of being around everyone that we want. That's important. If you start off and you feel like it's not going your way and you're just really hesitant, then by all means, you can request to go in remote learning. It's just just keep in mind, when you go on remote learning, your child they're not gonna be enrolled with Cecil. They're gonna be taken off the rosters and enrolled at the district level. They won't have the same teacher. The district has certain assigned district employees to provide that instruction virtually. Okay, everyone online here, everyone on campus here, they're only gonna teach to their students. So we'll be attending this school. How many students will be attending this school? We have over 600. We have over like 628 enrolled, but it's just dependent on how many have decided to go and enroll in remote learning or go to, remote. So we have over 600 as of right now. How many students in a classroom? That's dependent on, obviously, we're not going to go more than 32 because right now I have a class where the desks are set up 3 feet or more apart and I can fit 32 in there. So we're going to try to keep them at a minimum level, but right now some of our classes are 32 because, there's no way to avoid that.
Another good question for my child to start the year in-person learning. What do you need to do? Nothing. The default is in person. You only need to do something if you want to start it remotely. So your student is automatically enrolled for in-person learning unless you have filled out an application to be remote with us.
Yeah. I just received a direct message. We have breakfast at school. Breakfast will be served in the classroom once 8 o'clock hits, you get to class. One of the first things you're going to receive is your breakfast item, whether you're going to eat it or not. You're going to be given a breakfast item. If you do not wish to eat it, then you will toss it at the time, but everyone will have an opportunity to eat in the morning. There will be no second chance breakfast like we've had in the past. Your only chance to eat will be that first chance you get in the beginning of the morning. Can't see anymore. There's so many students will be attending school. Do we have breakfast? I just answered that one. It's very nervous.
I think we've got them all answered, I hope.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if we don't answer, or you think of something later on, give the school a call tomorrow.
Yep.
And if it's a question that they can't answer for you in the office, because tomorrow we have meetings with staff, then leave your number, and myself, Mr. Erner, will call you back.
Yeah, other thing, a very important source of information for us to get out information is our social media, our webpage. If you search Cecil Avenue Math and Science Academy on Facebook, we put out announcements there. We put them on Instagram, although we do have trouble with links on Instagram. Also Remind. I'm also able to shoot out messages on Remind as well. If you want to join Remind and get text-based messages or app-based, it's your choice. Just let us know and we can help you get signed up. Yeah. Again, band will be small. It's in small sectionals right now, not full band, but that may return later in the year.
Yeah, and the question was, do the supplies, when it comes to school supplies, come with supplies like they would come with any normal year? Anything they don't have, we can provide on our end. But, I know a lot of times kids would like their own backpack, they like a binder, they like to buy their own pencils. That's quite all right. We're not going to have them sharing anything, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, they can come with their normal, binder, pencil, paper. And if not, we'll provide that to them.
Would you like me to share what every student's getting?
Sure.
So your child, regardless, is going to get an Avid binder with tabs in it so they can keep their stuff organized for history, science, math, and ELA. They're going to get a math spiral notebook, a science spiral notebook, pencils, a pencil sharpener, like a little holder to hold all that, and then a highlighter and a small whiteboard. It's like a paper protector that's a whiteboard, so that's standard. So they'll go home with that along with their textbook. So if there's any additional things that you guys would like, go ahead and you can go ahead and either purchase those, or like I said, if you need something, just reach out to us and we'll try to provide that for you.
Yeah, we'll do our best to provide anything your child needs on campus. I just encourage you to really have this conversation with them. Like, don't be sharing items. Keep your own item, use your own item. I hate to say this, but it's probably might happen, but really encourage them not to be sharing masks. Because kids get silly sometimes and they do things where it's, oh, let me see what it's like to wear your mask. I like your mask. We're going to do our best to provide masks on our end if students need them. Okay, but we encourage everyone to keep your mask, take care of it, so that, you know, I don't want kids to spend half the time coming to the office because they need a new mask. And that's now they're wasting time unless they legitimately lost it. There was another one.
Another question. It's a good question. So if they're start the year in remote learning and they decide to go back in person, will they be assigned back to our school?
There's right now there's uncertainty with regards to that, because
Right.
what happens when we have students unenrolled in a campus like this one, you'd be unenrolled from this campus and enroll in the district, there's an open spot. And normally what the district will do, they'll fill those spots. Now, if we get to capacity, we get to a point where we can't add any more kids, because we're actually doing our best to try to keep the numbers at a workable level or workable number. So it's hard to say. I can't give a good answer on that one right now. That's as best as I can do, because the district I know was looking at saying, you know, we're not going to hold your spot, but there's a chance that you may not end up at the same school. And so that's something that we'll be able to find out, get a certain answer on, and relay that to the students, or maybe even send a mailer home eventually. Let me see. Do incoming sixth graders get a tour? Incoming sixth graders, what normally we did that we didn't do last year was a tour is provided at the end of their fifth grade year, where they actually come to the campus. That wasn't provided last year. Now, you know, campus tour is something you like really need, you know, then you're more than welcome just to call the school and arrange a time for you to come in and, you know, just receive a quick tour. If not, it's going to be, we're pretty small campus. We're compact.
Well, and another thing to add, generally speaking, and I don't see why they couldn't do this, but on that first day of school, the teachers tend to take their class, and they'll be outdoors. So the teachers tend to kind of show the sixth graders the ropes.
Yeah.
They take them and they show them where the cafeteria is. They show them where all the things they need to know are,
Yeah.
the restrooms and those sort of things. So in a sense, they do get a tour.
Yeah, and I know probably seventh may need that as well, because they honestly didn't receive any kind of tour. Well, they may have, no, actually, would they? No, because the seventh grade would have missed out on their tour as well, because we stopped
Right.
in March
Correct.
prior to that.
Correct. Question on temp checks at this time.
At this
The
time,
state is not requiring temperature checks.
let me see. Yeah, so if you wish, you know, contact us if you wish to have a tour of the campus. Okay. Let me see. What is this? I think that's pretty much your schedules will be given to you when you in your advisory class on Monday. I had a question about schedules. Let me see.
Questions on homework being paper or Chromebook?
We're going to try to limit the amount of handouts we give out, but there will
Right.
be times where there will be homework on paper and on Chromebook as well. I mean, we're trying. The one thing that being on remote learning taught us is that we now know how to utilize technology to incorporate, you know, past years practices with current practices. And so I think it was, you know, that's the one part that really helped us, is it made everyone competent in technology use. And we got lucky because, you know, our new learning coordinator is actually, you know, wizard when it comes to technology. So he'll, you know, that's a great gain on our part. So, but we'll try to limit the amount of handouts, but I'm not going to say we're not going to give handouts, because obviously it's kind of difficult to do that. School begins 8 o'clock on Monday. Morning bell will ring at 7:55. 8 o'clock, you'll be expected to be in your classroom.
Okay, yeah, again, there'll be plenty of staff around on that first day of school. We've done that drill many times. We help sixth graders find their class. It won't be an issue. So,
Find the person with the clipboard.
yeah, there's,
They have
yeah,
rosters.
we have lots of people around. Keep your Chromebooks home. Well, sixth graders won't have one to bring here.
Sixth graders will be provided one.
They'll be given one to take home and keep there.
Yeah, they keep it home, and then they'll
Right.
obviously use the ones we have here already.
So we just got that question again, so just know that, yes, they will get Chromebooks if they don't already have one checked out to them.
If you're an incoming sixth or seventh and you need a tour, or even a new student, just call the main office and we'll schedule a tour for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna highly recommend, I'm gonna type in the chat the school phone number, have this on your fridge, on your refrigerator. You know, that's what our staff is there for, to take questions and phone calls and tour requests and that sort of thing. So I just put it in the chat.
Joe, how about I haven't heard anything about the packets that are normally.
I
sent out.
haven't heard anything on emergency packets from the district office. Those are given to us by the district office. I know they're giving us conduct policies, but I haven't heard anything about emergency packets either.
Yeah. Okay, then those are all the questions I see. Like I
But
said,
what I would say is this: if you know of a change in your contacts and want to give that to us ahead of time, please do so, because that's really important to us to have our contacts up to date and current. So if you've got some you feel need to be changed and don't want to wait for those forms to come out to you, or however the district decides to do that, just go ahead and give us a call even tomorrow morning, and
yeah,
we'll get that changed for you.
contact includes phone number and most importantly, the address, because I've.
Yeah, although
mailers.
address, we can't change in our system without proof of address, like utility bills and that sort of thing, but phone calls very easily. Phone numbers we can change, and emails even will take.
Yeah, and then, but let the office know that if
Yeah.
you're at an old address, that you're not there anymore, so that we don't mail whatever it is to that person as well.
Right, because we had a lot of returned mail.
Yeah, we've gotten that. We've got quite a few of that. You know, Elvis Presley comes to mind, return to sender. So. Okay, Mr. Hunter, I think, Mr. Franklin, anything to add? Nothing? How about Mrs. Ardone? Nothing? Mrs. Rosales?
I'm good here. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I thank everyone here for showing up. Like I said, if you have any questions that pop in your head, by maybe in an hour when you're eating dinner, just don't hesitate to call the school. Yes, you can bring your own water bottles. That's okay. Okay, well, thank you all for coming and have a good night. I'll see any kids seeing me right now. I'll see you on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Is your link set different for the Spanish?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and end the meeting, I would say.
Oh, no, I wanted to get rid of the other one. Hold on, let me.